Australia writhing in the grip of the fiercest depression for more than a quarter of a century, and with state and federal governments locked in bitter political wrangles, newspapers provided gloomy reading as 1932 opened. Storekeepers, struggling to keep their doors open, tried to lure light-pursed customers with amazing bargains. Even these fantastic prices were beyond the reach of most. Gentlemen's business suits at 65 shillings. A pair of women's shoes for 8 and 11. They were grim days. But in Sydney, the outlook was brightened by the completion of the mighty Harbour Bridge, begun in 1923, the largest arch bridge in the world. It was March 19th. More than 200,000 Sydneyites and visitors converged on the structure, conceived by Australian Dr. J. Bradfield and built by Dorman Long of England at a cost of £9 million, almost twice as much as the original estimate. As 11 o'clock approached, the procession of official cars threaded their way up the southern approach, with Air Vice Marshal Sir Philip Woolcott Game, 24th Governor of New South Wales, in attendance. The Governor's opening remarks were followed by those of the fiery, controversial Labour Premier, Jack Lang.
Majesty's message is as follows. I have learnt with great pleasure that the Sydney Harbour Bridge has now been completed, and I desire to congratulate my people of New South Wales and all who have been concerned with the planning and construction of the bridge on the successful conclusion of the enterprise. It is my earnest hope that the bridge may be a means of increasing the prosperity and of contributing to the comfort and welfare not only of the citizens of Sydney, but of the whole of the people of New South Wales.
Long before the engineers drew the plan, or the labourer turned the sod, the people of Sydney dreamed about, worked for, and fought over the bridge which is about to be made available to them.
The time had come for Lang to perform the opening ceremony. The Premier's decision to open the Harbour Bridge himself brought bitter resentment from a section of the community who had clamoured for a royal performance. Lang replied in his own blunt way, "I will open it myself. It'll be cheaper." A 2-inch wide blue ribbon stretched across the approach. A pair of golden scissors lay waiting on a velvet cushion. Suddenly, an officer galloped forward, brandishing a glittering sword and shouting, "In the name of common decency, I declare this bridge open." He slashed the ribbon. Irish-born Major Francis de Groot had beaten Lang to the punch with perfect split-second timing. He was dragged from his horse by the then chief of the CIB, Superintendent Bill Mackay. De Groot was a leader of the new guard that claimed 100,000 members, sworn to stamp out the bushfire of Langism. After de Groot had been hustled away, the ribbon was quickly rejoined. Lang snipped the ribbon, and the bridge was officially open. Recovered from the shock of this unexpected and daring incident, the crowd enjoyed the carnival spirit as a colourful procession of 42 gaily decorated floats, the majority horse-drawn, paraded through the main city streets, and then on to the mighty thoroughfare. Many of the floats depicted early Australian historical events, while others glamorized our surfing movement with these good sorts and good spots. Then it was the spectators' turn. It was estimated that more than 300,000 men, women and children walked across the 3,770-foot 6-lane roadway that day. A remarkable scene which may never be repeated. And so, with the death knell sounded at last for the old slow vehicular punt, crossing from the spot where the Opera House now stands to Milson's Point, Sydney's traffic came to life. And what a busy time those toll collectors had. Hail, rain or shine, back in 32. Sunday, March 20th was a field day for the newspapers, and 24 hours later, reporters and cameramen concentrated on Sydney's Central Police Court. After a weekend confined to the reception house, de Groot, dressed in civvies, was escorted to the courtrooms. He was followed soon after by the commander of the New Guard, Colonel Eric Campbell, one of the 8 founders of the organization. Several thousand people crammed the street, but few man-hours were lost, for 1 in 3 was out of work. It was the day of the dole and relief coupons for staple food handouts. Tough CIB Chief Superintendent Bill Mackay, also in civvies, was the key witness for the prosecution. But it was not long before de Groot emerged after being fined £5 for offensive behavior. His appearance was the signal for a noisy demonstration with New Guard supporters clashing with those who sensed a sinister fascist undertone. Fists flew, and a few contestants found themselves whisked into the dock which de Groot had just vacated. The crowd dispersed, and the brief but colorful life of the New Guard was over. A highlight of the early days of 1932.